to have a couple of young filmmakers, 27 years old, come in and find new life in the movie. Rocky's story has basically been told.
Sylvester Stallone has punched his way through Hollywood for decades, and he keeps score like a champ. Behind closed doors, the action legend holds a private roll call of 5 stars he outright despises. These grudges are no silly quarrels. They are raw betrayals, shattered friendships, and on-set wars hotter than any blow Stallone delivered in the ring. Which Hollywood face humiliated him when he was hungry for fame, and who nearly tasted a real knockout during filming. Stick around as we step into the ring with Stallone's most hated actors. Started with a man who lost everything over spilled mustard. Number 5, Richard Gere. Back in 1974, Tinseltown swarmed with unknown dreamers hunting a life-changing break, each actor racing to nab even a single line of dialogue. Among that restless crowd were Stallone and Gere, 2 rookies cast in the penny-budget nostalgia, Flick the Lords of Flatbush, a project so small that the cast sometimes doubled as crew. Neither man was famous yet both felt destiny breathing down their necks, and both sensed that Flatbush could become their rocket to superstardom. What happened on that cramped set sparked a feud that smoldered for decades, all because of a sloppy sandwich that cost one actor his job and another his peace of mind. The film aimed to capture 1950s Brooklyn, using Stallone's own memories from Gritty Hell's Kitchen, memories filled with corner diners, street brawls, and restless teenagers cruising for trouble. Stallone co-wrote the script, so playing Stanley Rosiello felt personal and sacred, a chance to show Hollywood that he was more than a muscle-bound extra. He had scraped bottom for years, and Flatbush was his ticket to prove he could carry a movie and redeem all that sacrifice. Gere arrived from polished theater stages, crisp and measured, playing gang member Chico Terrell, confident that method acting would earn him notice even in a low-budget picture. Their acting styles clashed at once. Stallone swung from instinct, fierce and raw, willing to improvise entire speeches if it felt real. Gere examined every pause and breath like a human microscope. Under the strain of a minuscule budget and a frantic schedule, the set boiled with tension. Everyone prayed the little film would make noise, because another flop meant vanishing back into auditions that paid in pizza slices. Then an ordinary lunch detonated the bomb. All 4 leads crammed inside a beat-up car to rehearse. Gere, squeezed next to Stallone, chomped on a roll drowning in mustard. One yellow glob slipped free and splattered Stallone's pants, a bright smear on his only pair of costume trousers. In a flash, Stallone erupted. Days of stress and clashing styles exploded at that single insult. He drove an elbow into Gere's head, yanked him by the collar, and hurled him onto the street like yesterday's trash, the impact echoing through the quiet block. The crew froze. Cameras stopped clicking. Was it rehearsal or a real fight? No one dared speak. One thing was certain. The pair could never share a frame again. The tension was radioactive. Producers faced a brutal decision. They gathered behind a rusted truck, whispering frantic math. Keep both and risk daily chaos, or fire one and swallow the cost of reshoots that could bankrupt the film. They sided with Stallone and cut Gere without mercy, gambling that his raw charisma would carry the picture further than any ensemble harmony. Official statements blamed creative differences, yet every witness knew the truth. A mustard missile had sunk Richard Gere. Stallone had marked his territory, and anyone who crossed the line was finished. His legend of ferocity was born that very afternoon. For Gere, the exit was mortifying. He lost a role not for talent, but for one splash of mustard in Stallone's volcanic temper that nobody dared question. Gossip traveled faster than film reels. The stain lived on in memory long after dry cleaning, a cautionary tale for any actor who dared drip sauce near Stallone. Stallone walked away looking like the alpha dog. He showed he would protect his projects at any cost, even if that meant punching future A-listers out of cars. He convinced financiers that a man willing to fight for his art was worth backing, and that reputation helped open doors when he later pitched Rocky. Years later, both men exploded into superstardom. Stallone with Rocky, Gere with American Gigolo and An Officer and a Gentleman. Yet the mustard feud never cooled. A single speck on a pair of trousers had started a fire that kept crackling behind the scenes. Sometimes the tiniest spark lights a decades-long blaze. But what happens when the spark is not ego, but cold cash? Number 4, Bruce Willis. Stallone and Bruce Willis were once brothers in arms, the twin pillars of 80s and 90s action, appearing together in photo spreads that screamed pure power. Stallone delivered Rocky and Rambo, portraying iron-willed underdogs who refuse to fold. Willis gave the world Die Hard, turning a barefoot cop into the ultimate everyman hero. Together they set the blueprint of cinematic toughness that new stars still study. By 2010, the landscape had shifted. Audiences craved Cape Crusaders, not shirtless commandos. Age crept in, superhero films took over, and the muscle-bound hero seemed extinct, yet Stallone refused to fade. Stallone hatched a rescue plan, The Expendables, a nostalgia-fueled avalanche that would unite the legends for one last roar, mixing explosions with inside jokes only longtime fans would catch. The first Expendables smashed expectations, grossing more than $270 million worldwide, reminding studios that grit still sells. The sequel soared higher, proving audiences still craved old-school boom. Willis appeared from day one as the covert agency contact Mr. Church, a shadowy puppet master who handed out missions after sly banter. Though the part was small, his presence anchored the nostalgia vibe, linking the new franchise with the Die Hard legacy. Behind the camera, Stallone preached brotherhood, lower salaries, shared spotlight, and a nod to the good old days, a code of honor carved in celluloid. Then pre-production on Expendables 3 began, and the friendship hit a wall as tall as the studio gates. Stallone envisioned a bigger lineup with Harrison Ford and surprise icons, dreaming of a poster that would melt internet servers. Negotiations with Willis detonated the dream like plastic explosive. Willis demanded $4 million for 4 shooting days, a jaw-dropping million per day. Hollywood is no stranger to big paychecks. Yet this number clashed with the spirit of the franchise, a spirit built on nostalgia rather than greed. The Expendables worked because everyone took a pay cut for the cause. To Stallone, Willis's stance screamed indifference to the brotherhood. It was as if Church himself had sold out the team. Talk stalled, compromise vanished, and frustration boiled like jet fuel in August heat. Stallone faced a hard choice: surrender or stand tall. If he caved, the code collapsed. If he fought, he risked a costly rewrite. He chose to fight. He rang Ford, rewrote pages overnight, and refused to blink when lawyers warned about delays. Willis was dropped. The script was rewritten, and Harrison Ford boarded the mission with a grin broader than a runway, joking that he would fly the team out himself if needed. Ford arrived prepared, enthusiastic, and willing to play ball. Everything Stallone believed Willis refused to show, and the set buzzed with renewed energy. Stallone then did the unthinkable. He went public. In interviews, he blasted Willis as greedy and lazy, lighting up tabloids and shocking polite Hollywood that prefers silent grudges. The fallout was brutal. Overnight, Bruce Willis carried a brand new tag. Hard to handle, money hungry. Cut off from the blue-collar spark that once made John McClane every viewer's best friend. The whispers turned into roars inside studio hallways. Casting agents wondered whether his fee would sink budgets. Directors swapped nervous texts about scheduling nightmares. Every sentence ended with an uneasy shrug. Fans also felt the tremor. They noticed his empty slot in the Expendables 3 trailers and asked, "Where's the wisecracking guy who climbed through vents?" Social feeds popped with theories and a few hot takes when the opening credits rolled. Stallone did not bend an inch. He had built Expendables like a clubhouse for veterans of action cinema, a place where legacy mattered more than dollars. To him, bringing greedy energy onto that set felt like inviting termites into treasured wood. Yes, the third film still stacked more than $200 million worldwide, but anyone on set could feel the temperature shift. The old locker room laughs came out forced. The happy rap party became a stiff photo line instead of a family barbecue. Crew members talked afterward about how the absence changed the chemistry. It was like losing a drummer in a rock band. The beat was still there, yet the groove lagged just enough to feel strange. By now the message was carved in stone. Stallone valued loyalty over payday politics. 4 days of filming one exploding friendship, and a mustard-level dispute left a permanent scar on the franchise. If that showdown felt tense, the next saga would slice deeper than any box office feud. What happens when your true friend suddenly looks like a stranger under spotlight glare? Number 3, Eddie Murphy. Spin back to the neon glow of the late 80s and picture the marquees. Stallone flexed on one side, Murphy grinned on the other, and every theater owner did a happy dance because both names meant packed seats. The pair bonded on golf courses at charity galas, in crowded award after-parties where cell phones had not yet killed conversation. They slapped backs, told stories, and remembered the lean days when money was tight and hope was heavy. Murphy knew life as a stand-up prodigy who once raced from club to pay rent. Stallone knew the grind of selling his dog to eat, then buying him back after Rocky's success. That shared climb cemented trust. Then Beverly Hills Cop 2 rolled cameras in 1987, and the power surge flickered. Bridget Nielsen marched onto set in killer heels and ice blonde hair, ready to play a flashy villain. Crew members stared, extras whispered, and reporters circled like sharks eyeing blood. Long days on set mean cramped trailers, shared snacks, jokes told to break boredom. Murphy's natural charm and Nielsen's sharp wit created easy banter that snapped like fresh gum in the California sun. A laugh during rehearsal turned into a headline the next morning. Too much chemistry? Tease one gossip column. Another claimed secret dinners without citing a single source. In Hollywood, rumors are currency, and suddenly the market boomed. Soon even innocent moments felt sticky. When Eddie landed a punchline and Bridget's laugh rang across the soundstage, Teamsters glanced at each other. One driver later said it felt like watching a spark near dry grass. Stallone had fought real boxing matches, yet personal suspicion hurt more than any jab. He started reading tiny cues, tracking body language, replaying harmless stories in his head late at night. After a week of knots in his stomach, he dialed Murphy himself. No assistance, no voicemail, just a direct ring. "Hey, man, how have you been?" Never left his lips because anger raced ahead of manners. "What's going on between you and Sasha?" Loud, raw, undeniable. Those 11 words froze the room on Murphy's side of the call. Makeup artists stopped blending foundation. Boom operators paused mid-adjustment. Everyone sensed thunder in the distance. Murphy insisted nothing happened, promised respect, and pointed to crowded sets as proof. Yet once trust cracks, every creak sounds like a collapse. Stallone could not silence the knot in his chest, and Eddie felt stung that his friend believed the gossip. Paparazzi cameras clicked faster. One outlet splashed Buddy breakup above a stage shot of both men leaving different restaurants. Trade magazines dropped phrases like tension and fallout in bold, and late-night hosts mined the saga for easy jokes. Phone calls vanished. Invitations dried up. If both stars hit the same charity gala, seating charts were redrawn, so they never share a camera flash. Friends who once doubled over laughing now barely exchanged nods. Eddie later told an interviewer he regretted how fast the friendship crumbled. He missed the late-night chats about craft, the pep talks before premieres, the high fives when the box office reports came in hot. Yet he also felt stung that his own word had not been enough. Stallone pressed forward, channeling frustration into training montages and rewrite sessions. Murphy kept audiences roaring with new stand-up bits and family comedies. Hollywood fans loved the output, yet sensed a missing spark whenever both names appeared in the same headline. This showdown proved fame cannot shield a heart from rumors. It showed that in a town built on illusion, trust is the rarest currency. The Murphy break was savage, but the next collision almost wrecked Stallone's most iconic role. Imagine arriving on set ready to play a tortured veteran, only to face a cinema giant who wants to rip up the script you bled over. Number 2, Kirk Douglas. Shoot back to 1982. Stallone's star burned hot after Rocky III, and he wanted to stretch into darker stories. He found his canvas in David Morrell's novel First Blood, introducing battered Green Beret John Rambo. This was not another popcorn slugfest. Under the gunfire lived a serious plea for forgotten soldiers. Rambo mourned brothers lost overseas, battled nightmares no one could see, and found only empty stares when he asked his country for help. The project sat on shaky ground for years, bouncing between studios that feared its bleak tone. Stallone stepped in as co-writer, chiseling the character until he could feel the scars in his own mind. Every scene mattered to him. The forest chase, the cliff jump, the final meltdown in the police station. Each beat spoke to pain soldiers drag home. Stallone had learned from Rocky that studio notes can drown a story soul. This time he refused to surrender a single emotional punch. He wanted viewers to cheer the action, then leave the theater silent, pondering the cost of war. At that fragile moment, screen legend Kirk Douglas entered talks to play Colonel Troutman, Rambo's former commander. Douglas's resume glowed with epics like Spartacus, and studios drooled over the prestige his name would bring. But Douglas was used to leading roles and strong creative sway. He marched into script meetings with new pages, eager to reshape the ending, eager to shift Rambo's fate in a direction Stallone hated. Douglas proposed an ending where Troutman guns down Rambo, turning the colonel into the tragic hero. Stallone felt his throat tighten. Killing Rambo would erase the message, replace wounded survival with tidy martyrdom. Weeks of tense meetings followed. Douglas argued history, citing Greek tragedy structure. Stallone argued honesty, citing letters he had read from veterans who felt invisible. Crew members whispered that fireworks off camera sometimes felt bigger than the explosions planned on set. Each man believed he was fighting for art, yet only one vision could survive. At last a standoff snapped. Douglas quit rather than compromise. Stallone respected the choice, but also felt relief flood his veins. Richard Crenna stepped into the role with grace, accepted the script as written, and filming finally roared ahead. The finished movie hit theaters like a thunderclap. The final speech, where Rambo breaks down in front of Troutman, left audiences stunned. They walked out thinking, maybe for the first time, about the silent battles veterans fight long after bullets stop. Stallone's gamble paid off. He preserved the soul of the story, delivered a new kind of action hero, and proved that standing ground against a powerful ego can protect deeper truth. And now you see the pattern. For Stallone, loyalty beats money. Trust beats rumor. Vision beats rank. Yet there is still one name left on his secret list, and the feud gets even wilder. A storm rolled onto the First Blood set when Hollywood titan Kirk Douglas showed up, and every crew member felt the air crackle with danger. Douglas carried 5 decades of glory, from Spartacus to Paths of Glory, so landing him as Colonel Sam Troutman seemed like pure gold for Stallone's dark new story. Yet the legend posed one non-negotiable demand that slammed brakes on production. He wanted the ending from a novel, the one where Troutman shoots Rambo. No debate, no compromise, just do it. Director Ted Kotcheff suddenly stood between two immovable mountains, with Stallone guarding his hard-won vision, and Douglas insisting on a tragic finale that put the spotlight squarely on himself. Douglas spoke in third person during meetings, bragging Kirk Douglas wouldn't say this line, and Kirk needs stronger motivation, while dropping freshly typed pages that twisted the movie toward his own grand exit. Nights stretched long, tempers rose higher, and the set split into camps. New Hollywood pushing for hope against old Hollywood fighting for gloom. Stallone had bled to keep creative control. So hearing another star try to rewrite the script at the last minute felt like theft, and Douglas kept hammering for that fatal shot again and again. Kotcheff finally drew a line, telling Douglas this was a film in motion, this was a pact on paper. And if he could not accept it, he was free to walk away, which he did without looking back. The loss of a marquee name days into filming could have sunk everything, yet the team called Richard Crenna, who arrived within 24 hours, learned lines in the car, and delivered calm strength that made viewers believe he truly cared for Rambo. Crenna's warm performance softened the hard edges, swapped despair for fragile hope, and kept the door wide open for sequels that later shook box offices worldwide. For Stallone, the clash with Kirk Douglas became a life lesson. Sometimes you must stare down royalty to protect the story in your heart, and that bold stand can pay off big. First Blood roared into theaters, proved Stallone was more than Rocky, birthed a franchise, and reminded dreamers everywhere that risky choices can rewrite history. If Douglas was an old-school force, Stallone's next rival hit even closer to home, and the fallout lit up the entire pop culture sky. Arnold Schwarzenegger crashed into the 1977 Golden Globes like a granite wall, introducing himself to Stallone moments before award envelopes opened, and the tension could have cut steel. That night, Stallone watched Rocky lose trophy after trophy, while brand-new Arnold snagged new Star of the Year, and every miss one felt like a jab, until Sly finally hurled a massive flower bouquet at the grinning newcomer. The bouquet incident launched one of show business's wildest rivalries, a 15-year slugfest of egos, muscles, and box office bragging rights that made the 80s a non-stop action carnival. Stallone fired first with more Rocky rounds and The Birth of Rambo, but Arnold answered with Conan the Barbarian, The Terminator, and Predator, each film designed to outshine whatever Sly had just released. The one-up war grew hilarious. Arnold mocked a Rambo poster in Twins. Stallone pounded an obvious Arnold lookalike in Tango and Cash, and their race for bigger biceps and crazier weapons had fans cheering every new escalation. Arnold then pulled the ultimate prank by pretending he loved a bad comedy script title stop, or My Mom Will Shoot. Stallone rushed to grab it first. The movie bombed, critics groaned, and Arnold laughed quietly while watching the fallout. Karma circled back when Arnold played a pregnant scientist in Junior, and also tasted a painful flop, proving that even titans can trip when they chase the wrong punchline. After bruised comedies and cooling tempers, both giants stepped back, reassessed, and finally found common ground, even sharing screens later while poking fun at the years of chest-thumping chaos. Their feud, wild as it was, gifted the world unforgettable classics: Rocky, Terminator, Rambo, Predator. Because two relentless competitors kept pushing each other to new heights, and moviegoers reaped the thrills. Thank you for watching. Please like, comment, and subscribe. Tap the next video on your screen for another wild Hollywood tale. See you on the other side.